Let's talk about how to keep your girl on her toes today.
We're going live.
We'll do it live.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
Good morning, everybody. It is Monday. It's Memorial Day. Some of you guys might not even be out there. You guys are probably out there camping or something like that. You guys aren't even here. You're going to have to watch the replay. That's okay. Check out my mug. It says, "Your mom." My daughter made this for me back in high school, and it's been sitting up in the coffee mug cabinet this whole time, and she's back from college, and she goes, Dad, do you ever use your mug?" And I was like, "I have a mug?" I totally forgot about it. It's been hidden up away. So I was like, well, put it down where the coffee mugs are and I'll use it. Anyway, so guys, thanks for tuning in this morning. Thanks for tuning in on a Memorial Day. Thoughts go out to all those families who's had loved ones that died in the military. It's not about veterans today. It's about those that didn't come home. So remember that. You guys, speaking of Memorial Day, though, Memorial Day weekend's usually a 3-day weekend. Usually there's people go out camping. They have barbecues. They go do fun stuff. Well, Saturday was the first time that Grand Junction held a professional rodeo in 30 years. So that was pretty cool. I went down there with my daughter and we met up with Nurse Chick, and check this out.
Right. With a whip, set of chaps in a cowboy hat. 8 seconds out of the gate. Better hold on tight and start to pray. Belt buckles, cowboy boots won't mean a thing when the bull cuts loose. Clickety clack, the horns on the rack. Better cowboy up, that's where it's at. Rodeo, 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 whoa. Come on, girl, let's go.
Just a Saturday night in the cow pasture. That's what we do. That's what we do out here. Go out bull riding, roping. That's what we do out here in the cow pasture. Yeah, I like a good rodeo. I don't know if you guys have ever been to a rodeo, but they're pretty cool. So I posted that online, and Graybeard Actual, my friend Ray, goes by Graybeard Actual. He's got a pretty big following on Instagram and TikTok. He sees that and he goes, I just thought about this. He goes, but I used to bull ride. And he's like, I wasn't that good at it. He goes, but I used to do it. He goes, the chicks absolutely dug it. Like, they love bull riders, right? There's these chicks out there. They're called buckle bunnies, right? They just fall around all the bull riders and they love bull riders. Well, one of the things was that he was saying that short guys are typically better at bull riding, and it's just because of their center of gravity and stuff like that. So he goes, I didn't really think about it until you posted that video, but if you're a short guy and you want to do well with chicks, go ride bulls. And I was like, that kind of makes sense, right? Because if you ever read the book Atomic Attraction, one of the things that Christopher Canwell talks about is that women are attracted to guys who perform sort of controlled danger activities, right? That's why chicks dig guys with motorcycles, right? Like, it's dangerous. You could die doing it, but it's controlled danger, right? It's calculated risk. And chicks kind of like that, they kind of like that edge. So if you're a short king, maybe consider get yourself a bull and go out and ride it. Oh, man, that's not what we're talking about today. Guys, we are going to be talking about 10 ways to keep your girl on her toes. This comes from a Red Pill archive post that I found. Man, there's not that many people in the chat today. I don't know what's going on. I guess it's probably the holiday, but that's okay. If you guys are in the chat, drop a like or something or sound off. Let me know you're out there. But this is the post. I'm going to drop it in the chat. This is the post that we're going to be going through today, and I don't have any show notes, so I'm just basically, it's going to be story time with Paul Bebe. But this was written by a guy that went by Training the Brain back in 2015. And it was called 10 Ways to Keep Your Wife on her Toes. And this is important because, a lot of guys in the red pill space talk about, 70 to 80% of women file for divorce and, the juice ain't worth the squeeze and whatever. It's like, I'm going to go through these things today. And you need to ask yourself, especially if you're a guy that's been through divorce or been through a major breakup, like, did you do any of this stuff? Did you even attempt to do any of this stuff before the divorce or the breakup? Because I guarantee most of you probably didn't. Most of you probably got complacent and it just, your relationship became routine and you just were like, yeah, everything's good. Like, I'm happy, but your girl's not, right? Like, you got to keep your girl engaged, and that's your job as the dude in the relationship, as the guy that's setting the tone and leading, right? Well, I don't want to do that. Why can't it be her job to do this stuff? Because that's just not how women are wired. Women are wired to receive, right? And we are wired to sort of give as men. That's masculine, feminine energy. And if you're the one that's expecting to receive all the time, you're acting like a woman. All right. So let's talk about this, right? So starts off, he says, if you are reading Married Red Pill, then you are with a woman who is either your wife or LTR. When it comes to daily interactions with the same person, the possibility of complacency is amplified. If it is human nature, the more you're exposed to a stress, the more you adapt to it, ultimately by becoming desensitized. Okay. LTR, if you guys are new to the space, long-term relationship. Okay. If you guys aren't in an LTR or you're not married right now, but you're out dating and this is what you want, it's good to know. It's good to know this information so that when you do get into an LTR, you know what to do, right? So it says, this is why as the family alpha, you need to consistently change the stress you're exposing to your wife to. Mix it. We're not at the 8-minute mark. Mix it the F up. This post spawned from an observation I made reading the Ultimate Cad's post, where he and Red Rope laid out these two gems. So let's see here. Oh, Red Pope laid out these two gems. However loyal, faithful, and dependable you may have been, I have no doubt you were a great father and provider after 19 years of daily companionship. Your attention is valueless to her. That was from Red Pope. And then the Ultimate Cad said, women don't love men. They love how men make them feel. Something to think about. And it's something I had to learn too. How you make a woman feel, it's all about how you make her feel in the moment, like right now. How you make her feel right now. Everything in the past doesn't matter. There's no such thing as relationship equity. Well, I did all this stuff right for 10 years. I did nothing but do blah, blah, blah for you. Doesn't matter. It's meaningless. It's all about how you make her feel right now. Women sort of have this innate, what have you done for me lately kind of attitude, So Ultimate Cat says women don't love men. They love how men make them feel. I responded to these points with a comment that can be found in the cited post. So he linked to the original post. He goes about not becoming complacent, etc. Then Blue Pill Professor mentioned making a short list or a sort of list where we can all drop some of our best things I do so my wife is never comfortable with me moments. Right. And that's really what it is. You don't want your wife or your girlfriend to be comfortable with you. You got to kind of keep her on her toes, right? Which is what this article is titled. You guys are like, but Paul, your title says Unleash Your Inner Alpha, 10 Secrets. That's AI writing. AI wrote the title to this episode, guys. It writes the title to most episodes. So yeah, so he goes, I'll provide 10, and I encourage any and every man on the sub to share what you do to keep your wife's fire of tingles from going out. I encourage you guys to do the same thing. If you guys are watching the replay, because I mean, there's 10 guys here. There should be at least 10 likes on this video. But no one's talking in the live chat right now. So for you guys out there that are watching the replay that are kind of active participants, drop a comment about some of the things that you do to keep your relationship fresh, right? Keep your girl on her toes, okay? I encourage you to do that. Participate. And he says, before I share my 10 actions and let you decide, or let you see inside training the brain's marriage, I want to reiterate something to you. Women do not love you in the manner that you love them, right? Which is one of Rollo's iron rules of Tomasi, you know? And a lot of guys misconstrue that iron rule. I can't remember which one it is, but basically it's women are utterly incapable of loving a man the way he thinks he should be loved, right? Something I'm paraphrasing, and a lot of people misconstrue that saying women don't love men, right? And it kind of UC said the similar thing, right? Women don't love men; they love how they make them feel, right? So a lot of guys are like, oh, women are incapable of love. It's just like they're not. Right? They just love differently than us. You know, men probably love the closest you'll find to unconditional to their girls, right? To their wives or girlfriends, you know. But for women, there's always conditions attached. You know, it's what can you provide for me? You know, and that's just Breitfeld's law. And the sooner you come to grips with that, the sooner that you can have healthy relationships. Okay. It's not about hating women. It's for not hating women for what they can never be for you. Okay. They're not your mom. Your mom's the only woman in the world that loves you unconditionally. Right. So he says, as men, we are the more romantic of the sexes, and it only makes sense that the burden of keeping the fire of tingles alive lands on our shoulders. Men have a burden of performance, right? He goes, do not be discouraged by this, as women are simply acting in accordance with their nature. As masculine men, we embrace challenge and find comfort in the discomfort of knowing society is against us and our success. We still do not give a fucking fuck. We are past the 8-minute mark. We still do not give a fucking fuck. We will act in the manner that men act, and whether it's viewed as acceptable or not, we do not care. Our successful marriage will speak for itself. Fuck approval from the majority. You know what's interesting about this paragraph right here, right? I get a lot of people on Twitter, especially feminists and trad cons and stuff like that. They're talking about, you red pill guys, all you guys do is talk about spinning plates and you know, just banging chicks and leaving them, right? Fucking them and forgetting them and all this kind of stuff. It's like, do you even tune in? Do you even tune into my content? Like, Fresh and Fit are not the cornerstone of red pill. You know, like their origins probably like did come from the red pill space. Myron was on Rule Zero a bunch of times in the early days of Rule Zero, right? But now it's devolved into Jerry Springer bullshit, and people see that and they see clips from that. And they see clips from stuff like the Whatever podcast, and they're like, "Oh, this is red pill. This is red pill. It's holding women accountable. It's making women look stupid on TV." It's like that's not red pill. That's not red pill at all. You have guys like that wrote posts like this, you know, back in 2015, and they've been doing this for over 20 plus years, and they're writing stuff like this so that guys can have healthy relationships. Totally goes by the wayside. Nobody even tunes into this kind of stuff. No one gives any credit to the red pill community for actually providing actionable information to men to have healthy relationships. They think it's all about hating women and stuff. It's not. It's about understanding women and their true nature and not sugarcoating it, right? Understanding that women aren't these mythical creatures that we put on pedestals. We actually treat them like human beings here, you know? Anywho. So he goes, this list is something you could take and apply today in your marriage. I hope others contribute so we have a thread of ideas that will keep marriages from getting stagnant for years to come. And he goes, keep what you think will work, disregard the rest. And honestly, you should do that for everything you learn in the red pill space. Take what's useful, leave what isn't, right? Be like Bruce Lee, take what's useful. Guys, before we get too far into this, man, you guys are quiet as hell. There's people watching right now and no one's sounding off in the live, and that's bothering me. That's hurts me right here. Okay. So I will say this, guys, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Guys, please sound off in the live chat if you are watching right now. If not, well, I'll just keep talking to myself, I guess. But if you guys are watching on the replay, comment below, right? If you guys have other ideas outside of this that can help keep your relationship spicy, drop some ideas below. Or just sound off with your favorite emoji. Doesn't matter. All that kind of stuff just boosts us in the algorithm. If you guys are listening on your favorite audio platform of choice, like Spotify or you know, Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. That helps more than you know. And then, guys, I mean, there are people watching. You could send a super chat, all right? If you find any of this information useful, please send a super chat. All right, so the first idea that he has here is sex outside of the bedroom. And he says one of the biggest routines that couples find themselves in is only having sex in the bedroom at night, right? It's scheduled. It's like clockwork. You know, and what we've learned from the Book of Puck, what we've learned from the writings of Royce and stuff like that is you want to keep your girl well sexed, and you also want to not be boring, right? You could be anything to a woman, but you can't be boring, and scheduled routine sex is the most boring sex in the world. So you want to have sex outside of the bedroom, okay? He says, you are adults. You no longer have to sneak around your parents' house to fuck. Okay? You are probably living in your own place. Claim it all. Claim it all. Fuck in every room, on every piece of furniture, at every point of the day. Right? I got this new chair, this new office chair for the podcast and for, you know, my day job. And I told Nurse Chick about it, and she goes, "Oh," she's like, "Can we christen that?" Because that's what we do. And I recommend that. You get a new coffee table. Test how sturdy that thing is. Okay. He goes, "Kids are napping. Fuck on the couch. Kids are watching a show. Sneak downstairs and get a blowjob. Wife is doing dishes, pick her up, carry her to the garage, pin her to the wall, and make out with her hard and fast. Then just fucking leave and go sit somewhere with a book. She'll be in the garage dripping wet, wondering what in the actual fuck just happened to her." All right. Says the reason behind this action is twofold. Not only are you breaking routine by fucking in a foreign place, but you're also making new sexy inside jokes and memories with your lady. You know, one of the things that I mentioned on last Friday's episode, because last Friday's episode was on how to keep your girl loving you and loyal forever. It's this kind of stuff, right? So this episode sort of goes hand in hand with Friday's episode, and that's one of the things I said. You know, you just got to randomly bang your girl in different places, right? Like if you're driving down the highway with her, you're on a road trip, just pull off the side of the highway and rail her in the back of the car. Just, you got to keep things fresh, you know, because you don't want to be having scheduled, boring, like clockwork sex, right? And he says, for example, When you have company over and someone asks if the table they are leaning against is sturdy, you and your wife will flash back and smile to the time you were railing her on that exact table. Whenever you see any room or piece of furniture in your house, it will have a story. You kind of do want to keep your girl just like looking at different things and going, he railed me on that, right? Have her flash you that kind of look. Hey, Thor's in the house. He says, here, Paul, Skull just lurking in the background. Thor, thank you for commenting, man. And I think it's the holiday. People are, camping or whatever they're doing. They're not here. They'll probably catch the replay, hopefully. We'll see. So I'm just sort of talking to myself. I'm not talking to myself, though. I see that people are watching. They're just, they're lurking. And that's okay. Thanks for tuning in. It's just a little bit better when I'm not just talking to myself, this almost feels like a pre-record, but that's okay. That's okay. The next one is surprise vacations. The routine of wake up, go to work, come home, do whatever, weekend time, start again is all too common in our day and age. All right. You hear me say it all the time, right? You go to work, you come home, crack open a beer, you play video games, rinse, wash, repeat. That's what most people do. They're just living their lives. They're not even thinking about this stuff. And then next thing you know, 15 years goes by and they're wondering why their marriage is in the tank. And like a lot of times guys don't even realize it, but they are wondering like why they're not getting more sex. And then they're resentful of their wives, but they're like, could be worse. I could be out in the dating circuit right now in this trash dating circuit. And so they're just comfortable and their wife is miserable. And then their wife eventually, starts hearing from the other chickens that, that have all been divorced, how they're so much happier because they're single now. And so that she's like, yeah, I want to be single too. And then she dumps your ass because you got complacent. And then you find yourself here. Listening to this podcast. Okay. Don't let that happen. Okay. Don't let that routine happen. Okay. Even if like you let it go for a couple of weeks and there's a little bit of routine, that's okay. But keep things spicy. Periodically sprinkle in some of this shit, right? He goes, people get stuck in these loops. I hate loops. In the Navy, I called it redundancy without progress. And in the military, there is quite a bit of that. But I digress. He is absolutely right about that. To break the loop, I had saved some cash specifically for this trip. Didn't tell the wife anything. On a weekend where I knew we had nothing going on, I booked us a room at the Great Wolf Lodge, a hotel that is aimed towards kids, water park, arcade, interactive stuff, etc. I then messaged my wife that when she got off work, this was Friday, that she needed to pack our stuff for 3 days and be sure to include bathing suits and that we'd be spending our weekend at the lodge. She responded with, well, what about the cat and the dog? I'd handled it. And money, I'd handled it. This is short notice. I told her that I've given her instructions as to what I wanted done and that when I got home, she needed the gear packed, kids ready to go, and everyone standing by. Women like, this is, I talked about this on Friday, the 3 T's, right? Tease, touch, and tell. So telling your girl, hey, make sure that this is done, right? Chicks dig that. Especially if you're taking her to go do something fun and she's just like surprised by it. She's like, oh yeah, no, absolutely. She might be a little panicked, but she's excited. Like she's like, oh my God. That's how chicks are. And the fact that he planned it all and he had everything that she was worried about handled, chicks dig that too, right? Not only did he plan a fun weekend, he covered all the bases, right? I got the dogs and the cats are handled. The money's covered. Don't worry about it. I got you. I got it. Right? Just show up looking hot. That's what women really want at the end of the day. They just want to show up looking hot. So she had them ready. The trip was awesome. And she kept ranting and raving about how excited she was and that it was an amazing adventure. Sex was awesome the entire time. Follow behavior, not words. Now, I will say this. You'll notice that this article is about keeping your wife or your LTR on her toes. Like, don't be doing this to a plate, right? Don't be doing surprise vacations for a chick that you've only seen like, a handful of times. Like, chicks got to earn this behavior, right? A girl that you've been seeing for, over a year, she's earned it, and she's been loyal and loving, and she's been doing, everything right. She's earned something like this, right? A wife has earned a vacation like this, right? Don't be trying to impress these plates by doing shit like this, okay? They have to earn it. All right. A lot of guys lead with their wallet. They lead with this sort of thing to try to impress chicks. Like, that's not a good way to operate, my friend. Guys, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. I will send you some free stickers, right? Got these. If you don't want the stickers, just put don't want stickers in the address field and I won't waste a stamp on you. But you do get 20 dating app openers. They're guaranteed to capture a woman's attention in the first 7 words. And you also get a free chapter of my book, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18, which is available on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible. If you guys have a Kindle Unlimited subscription and, you're trying to figure out what to get with your next credit, get my book. All right. If you guys have an Audible subscription and you have an available credit and you're wondering what to get my book. My friend Thor, who's in the chat right now, he did the narration for it. It's a pretty good book. It's gotten nothing but good reviews. There's a couple of bad reviews, but those aren't real reviews. You can see that they're not verified purchases. It's people that hate me on Twitter, but the actual verified reviews are all good. So they all liked it. And then guys, check out my dating course. This is the last week to get the dating course. So if you're not in an LTR and you want an LTR, you need to learn how to date effectively. And 70% of relationships start online nowadays. Okay. So it behooves you to learn how to get good at online dating, no matter where you live. The course has a funny name. It's called No Cold Approach in the Cow Pasture, because out in the middle of nowhere here, out in cow pasture country, there's no cold approach out here. There's no places to organically meet people. I took a nurse chick out to a restaurant. Well, actually, she took me out to the restaurant, and then I took her to the bar down the street. And it's all old people out here, right? We go to the bar. It's just all geriatrics. I sit next to a guy, and he's got an oxygen tank, and he's like in his 70s. Like that's the kind of people you run into at the bars around here. Like, there's no like chicks of dating age out here, like, right, my age. So I had to get good at online dating because there are hot chicks around. They're just sitting at home, just, hoping that Mr. Right breaks into their house or something. I don't know what it is, but they don't go out. And you go out to the bars, it's all just old people and like fat chicks, right? The hot chicks stay home. And so I had to get good at online dating. So I teach you my method in this course, and the secret sauce is not only do I show you how to get to optimize on dating apps, because dating apps don't suck. Men just suck at dating apps, right? But I also show you how to use Facebook and Instagram to meet women in your area that are hot. It's like Amazon shopping for chicks. Let me play a commercial for that. And remember, this is the last week. Friday, this deal ends, but you get the course for 50% off with code May50 at checkout. 70% of relationships start online nowadays. But you're tired of being stuck in the dating app dead end. Swipe after swipe, and all you get is ghosted, or worse, bot matches. The problem isn't you. It's that most dating apps are designed to favor the top 20% of guys. And if your profile isn't up to par, you're just another swipe left. The solution? No cold approach in the cow pasture. While the course may have a funny name, it will show you how to optimize your dating profile. It will show you how to take perfect photos and write bios that get you noticed. You'll also learn how to spot and avoid bots, catfish, and time wasters. I originally designed this course for
guys who live in rural flyover country, where the opportunity to meet women organically in person just isn't possible, or your options are severely limited.
But this course will work for guys in big cities too. In fact, it'll work better for guys that live in big cities because you have way more options than guys that live out in rural areas. Wherever you are,
No Cold Approach in the Cow Pasture will help you meet high-quality women in your area. It will help you to close for more dates than you ever thought possible. Because not only do I teach you how to optimize your online dating profile on dating apps, the real secret sauce is I show you how to meet women on Facebook and Instagram and how to slide into their DMs using a virtual cold approach method using video messages. Ready to be a part of the top 20%? Don't miss your chance. Visit dates.comeonmanpod.com. That's dates.comeonmanpod.com to sign up now. And for the entire month of May, take 50% off with code MAY50 at checkout.
You know, I just cracked open this the Celsius drink. They're not really sponsors, but it just reminded me there was something I wanted to mention about this. I saw a video on YouTube about energy drinks, and this guy was talking about one of the active ingredients. I'm spilling it. Let's see here. Let me see if I can just Google it. I can't even read that, but B12 synthetic cyanide, right? Let's see here. Yeah, okay, so it's called cyanocobalamin. Cyanocobalamin. It's a synthetic compound of vitamin B12 used to treat vitamin deficiencies, right? So a lot of these energy drinks have this in it. And all of a sudden I see this, like a bunch of videos about this where they're talking about how if you're drinking cyanocobalamin, it's basically cyanide. And they're like, you got to stop drinking it right now. So there's all this like fear mongering about this. And then I see other videos. They're like, it's, you're eating other things like almonds that have trace amounts of cyanide in it, you know? So chill the fuck out. Chill the fuck out. I mean, if you're drinking like 20 of these a day, that's a problem, right? That's going to cause you other issues. You know what I mean? Cyanide's probably the least of it, right? That's probably going to give you kidney stones and stuff like that if you're drinking a whole bunch of these. But if you have like one a day, you're fine. Chill out, guys. Okay. All right. That's neither here nor there. That's off topic. The next one here is removing vanilla sex. Do you guys notice a pattern here on keeping your relationship fresh, right? The first one is sex outside the bedroom, and the next one is removing vanilla sex. I mean, it's literally same concept, right? You got to keep your girl well sexed, but you also got to make sure it's not boring. It's not boring sex, right? But sex is the glue that keeps a healthy relationship together, okay? So he says here, there is a time and a place for your standard missionary position. That time is not every time. You need to make sex your fucking play place. It is completely fair game to turn your sex into something from a Lewis Carroll novel. If you guys don't know who Lewis Carroll is, he wrote Alice in Wonderland. Imagine turning every sexual experience with your girl into Alice in Wonderland adventure, where she's like, she feels short, she feels tall, she doesn't know what's happening, her mind's dizzy and stuff like that. That's the goal. Speaking of which, hey nurse chick, good morning. she's in here going, good morning chat. She's literally, her and Thor are the only ones in the chat. Sad. She says, no worse than sugary frappuccinos and donuts. Yeah, that's gonna cause people more problems, I think. All that sugar, it's gonna kill you. It's going to kill you. You're going to get metabolic syndrome and die. So drink the 10 calorie, 0 carbohydrate drinks, okay? You're probably going to do better with you're going to do better with the cyanide. He goes, yesterday, I bought a bunch of those glow sticks that are necklaces. We were at the Dollar Tree, and I saw them, and an entire fucking fantasy filled my mind. Without telling anyone why, I put them into the cart. Fast forward, and it's getting dark, so I let the kids crack them and run around the yard playing. The kids get put to bed, and then I tell my wife to go to the room and get undressed, and that we would shower together. I cracked the rest of the glow sticks, and I hung them from everywhere inside the shower. The shower head, the water knob, the bar that holds the shower curtain, and then I threw a few on the ground. She came in and it was fucking game on. And
I then got out and took the glow sticks with me. She was drying off and I staged them in our bedroom. I had them hooked to the fan everywhere. Sex was had again, and she said at one point she didn't know which way was up. It was awesome. This can be done in any way you'd like. I recently got some white rope, new white boxer briefs, fancy, installed black lights in her room, and tied her hands up while I stood over her in white and had my way, shooting my glowing load like a shooting star all over her. If you are in shape and own your shit, your wife will do anything. And I mean anything, guys. So go to the gym. Go to the gym and own your shit. And then do crazy ass shit to set the stage for fun sex, not just vanilla missionary. We're going to bed now. Time for sex, right? Number 4, be mysterious. Can you make it? Oh, this guy says here, Online Mike says, can you make an episode about betatization? Why, sir, you are in luck because I just did one a couple weeks ago. So go back through my lives and you'll see that I did a whole episode on the betatization process. So check that out. Already done. Way ahead of you, bro. Way ahead of you. Okay. Let's see here. Be mysterious. Okay, so the next one's be mysterious, right? When guys on MRP, married red pill, give the advice to just get out and go somewhere alone, I think some people think this is a complex Rubik's Cube piece of advice. Let's clear it up now. Men, when another man says something, obviously think it over as to whether it is good or bad advice. If the person giving the advice has proven their worth, just fucking listen and don't become some fucking scientist looking for all the hows and whys. Just follow the fucking advice. Men do, women talk, right? I'll add some caveats to this, right? I learned this from Ryan Stone. He got this from I think another guy talking about, there's another old red pill archive post about putting a bucket on your head, right? If a guy with a bucket on his head's telling you, hey, your life's going to be better by putting this bucket on your head, you sort of need to evaluate that by looking at the guy's life and going, well, is this the kind of life I want to live? You know, is this the kind of life I want to live? Because if he's living the kind of life you want to live, if he's having the kind of relationship you want to have, then yeah, maybe follow his advice, right? What I like to tell guys is don't take my word for it. Just test some of this stuff out. You know, treat it like a science experiment. You know, some of the stuff will work for you. Some of it won't, right? You got to take what's useful. So that's what I'll say to something like that. Just don't take my word for it. Try some of this stuff out. He goes, men do, women talk. Let the women ponder all the ramifications. You can just do. Don't overthink it like a woman. Do what? Go where? Do I tell her? Etc. I will just leave and do anything randomly. Right? The kids go to bed. It's some other opportunity where you know you aren't needed. It should go something like, something that roughly follows this routine. Man, hey babe, I'm heading out. I'll be back in like an hour. Woman, where are you going? Man, out. Who knows? I'll figure it out when I get there. To slay dragons, to pick up hookers, etc. Woman, hamster. That's her overthinking stuff, right? Like, let her overthink stuff. You just go out. It doesn't matter if you fucking drive to the closest parking lot and read a book, or you go to the bar and get a hotel room and call an escort. You do whatever you need to do to ensure that you're making time for you. It's healthy and it allows your wife time to miss you, right? Stolen from Ian Ironwood. Your wife needs to miss you, and more importantly, you need to have an aspect to who you are as a man that she is not involved in. If she isn't involved and you aren't spewing your life to her daily, then there is an element to you that she doesn't know, and that is a good thing. Mystery fosters the growth of tingles. This was something I learned in the book Atomic Attraction and in How to Be a 3% Man, right? Those are the two out of the three Holy Trinity books that I recommend men read, right? How to Be a 3% Man, Dating Essentials for Men, and Atomic Attraction, right? But Atomic Attraction really emphasizes this, that attraction grows in space, right? And it dies in close proximity, you know? If you're always around your girl and you guys never have time alone, then attraction is going to get stale. Dr. Robert Glover refers to it as fusion. If you're around the same person all the time, your personalities and stuff start fusing and things start getting boring, right? So you need to have a little bit of space in your relationship, and you got to not be afraid to have that kind of space. I talked about this like on Friday. One of the best things about nurse chicks in my relationship is that we live in two different households and we only see each other every other week. On top of that, I'm not texting her all the fucking time. We're not calling each other every fucking night. You know what I mean? That's important because a lot of people are addicted to texting. They'll text each other all day long. They'll give each other play-by-plays of their life. You guys need to knock that shit off, okay? She needs time to miss you. Your grandparents, your great-grandparents didn't have text. Okay, they couldn't text each other and be in constant contact with each other all fucking day long. They actually missed each other by the end of the day, and they had something to talk about. And that's why a lot of us in the space say texting is for logistics. Now, Paul Benjamin did a whole episode about how texting is also for spiking a woman's emotions and stuff like that, and getting her emotionally invested to go out on a date with you. Yeah, I think I love Paul Benjamin, but I'm like, I think that's kind of splitting hairs a little bit, but it is, I mean, if you think about it, that emotional spiking is about logistics, right? Getting her emotionally bought in so you can set up some plans to go see her in person, and then you get the fuck off the phone, right? Like, it's still the same idea, right? And you could do that too periodically with your girl, like spike her emotions throughout the day with like, a random message, right? A random sexually charged message, but just don't make it a habit, right? Do it, maybe banter like 2 or 3 messages and get the fuck off the phone, right? Nurse chick and I'll do that. Like, I don't send her good morning and good night texts every day. It's not a routine. Periodically, nurse chick will send me a message, right? This morning, I did send her the first message of the day because she sent me a message last night that I missed at like, I don't know, close to 10 o'clock. And this morning I saw it, and so I replied to that, right? That's okay, but I'm not texting her good morning, good night texts like clockwork. I'm not predictable like that, right? And I think that's important. A lot of guys are like, well, when can you start texting her all day? Like when you're in a long-term relationship? No, fucking no. Stop that shit, right? Stop that shit. Be mysterious, okay? That is like the easiest way guys can be mysterious. It's just not fucking texting all the time, okay? Guys, join the beer club. There should be a bunch of beer club guys here. I don't know where they're at. I know brother Nathan, he's usually in the chat every morning. He's on vacation with his son in Alaska, so he's probably going to catch the replay. But guys, join the beer club. We have 40 or so guys in the beer club right now. It's a good group of men. A lot of guys, a big problem with their relationship is they become vulnerable with their girl, right? Anytime they have problems, they come to their girl with it. And women, they think they want to care, and they may even want to care. They just aren't wired for that. So if you keep doing that kind of shit, she's going to lose attraction for you over time because she feels in her monkey brain that you're not handling your own shit as a man. Okay. But look, life is hard. Sometimes we need to talk to other people, and men need a tribe for that. Okay. A tribe of other men that they can come to and talk to. That's what Beer Club's about. It's about men connecting with other men. Women aren't allowed. It's not because we hate the whammon. It's because that women fuck up the dynamic of men's spaces. Okay. they don't mean to. They're just there and they're trying to be helpful or whatever. But guys start changing, right? Guys start acting weird when the whammon are around. They start doing all sorts of stuff. And so it just messes up the dynamic, and men can't be themselves. So Women aren't allowed. This is for men only. Join the beer club. It's only $10 a month. Okay. It's a good group of dudes. And then we get together once or twice a month and we have video calls and we just talk about guy stuff, right? Nothing heavy. Pretty simple. All right. The next one is being romantic. He goes, I won't lie. My most recent romantic action was ripped completely from the Red Pill Room's Perfect Red Pill Date article. The kids went to bed and I told my wife to throw a hoodie and booty shorts on. She asked why. As she was looking to just sit and read, I told her, just do it and I'd be back. I went into our basement and opened the bulkhead. This guy's clearly a sailor, which means bulkhead means wall for civilians. Okay. I went to our basement and opened the bulkhead, which leads to the backyard where I had pre-staged a picnic. I lit tea candles on the steps leading up to the yard. The moon was full and the sky was clear. It was sweet. I brought her down to the basement and towards the bulkhead door. She was overwhelmed by the candles before she even saw the blanket. The sex was awesome. As men, we are the romantics. If I ever text her, I love you, I always capitalize the words. I go out of my way to make the little things line up for her and the whole host of other things. It will be dependent on the man, but remind yourself that you're doing these little things for you, not her. She is a woman and won't see your actions the way you do. Which is, I mean, this is important, right? Like if you want to have a spicy, sexy relationship, like do this kind of stuff. Set the tone and lead, right? It's about you. It's about you getting your needs met. Okay. Be careful not to be doing all this nice stuff though, as a covert contract, expecting something. Okay. You want to lead the interaction, but if it doesn't work out for you, don't get butthurt, right? Because if you are doing all this stuff expecting a certain reaction and she doesn't give it, that's where guys get resentful. And it's because they're setting themselves up for failure with that kind of mentality. So that's why he's saying you're doing these things for you, not her necessarily, right? He goes, she'll appreciate them, but it won't hit as deep as it does in your heart. That's fine. She's a woman and you're doing it because you find joy in doing romantic shit. Own it and don't make covert contracts. Just own your role as a romantic masculine male. Yeah, so he agrees. The next one here is goal setting and leading. He goes, you are the family alpha, the leader of your clan. How are they supposed to flourish under your guidance if you are unwilling to set aside time to their development? My wife is a preschool teacher. She's very organized and has a solid understanding of early childhood development and dealing with special attention kids as well as their parents. What she lacks is the ability to set goals for herself and take actions towards those goals. She says she wants to weigh a certain weight, run a certain time, and achieve a certain life goal. But when I ask how she is making progress towards those goals, it's aimless actions. See, redundancy without progress. He goes, I sat my wife down and together we grabbed a notebook and wrote down what our short-term goals were individually. One of hers is to write a children's book. So we'll use that as an example. I then had to create a rough timeline / map towards her achieving that. Now she's well on her way. Yeah, that's one of the things I love about Nurse Chick is she sets her own goals and typically works on her own goals and makes her own plans. Like, I don't have to do this kind of stuff. Like, Nurse Chick's not a fucking child. She's not a child. For instance, right? She decided she's going to sign up for another fitness competition this year. So she's going to be doing that in August. She hired herself a new trainer and she's following his program. She's doing what he's telling her to do. And so she's doing that because she's like, I want to kick ass at this competition, right? She's already got she's already a champion. She's already got her medals and stuff like that, but that's not good enough. She wants to do better. So she sets her own goals for this kind of stuff. She went back to college. She's going back to college now to get her, she wants to become a nurse practitioner. So she's going to go get her master's degree and become my sugar mama. You know what I mean? So that's cool. Like, I don't have to hold her hand with this shit. She comes up with her own goals and she does this sort of thing. So that's one of the things I love about her. But I mean, if your wife or girlfriend's struggling with this kind of stuff, you could do this for her. I wouldn't just volunteer and just do this stuff. I sort of would ask her, do you want some help with this? Do you want some help setting goals? I would do that. I think that's probably a smarter move. I wouldn't just fucking, you're not getting your goals done, I'm going to show you how to do this, whammon. Because women don't really like being mansplained to. You know, even if you are trying to set the tone and lead. So, you know, have some social acuity with this. He goes, your wife needs you to help her stay on the straight and narrow. If she is stagnant, don't come to MRP saying my wife is unmotivated, sedentary, etc., because that's your fault for not motivating her. And if she doesn't give a shit and has no passion for life, what value is she bringing to yours? If there isn't an answer to that question, then why are you keeping her around? You know, that kind of reminds me of what Ryan says in his book on Dread, right? He says sometimes she's just a shitty wife, you know? You're doing all this stuff to level up, and she's not doing anything. And no matter what you do to help sort of lead her in that direction, she just won't fucking do it. Well, you can't change other people, right? You can only change yourself, right? Sometimes people are just not that great of a relationship candidate for you. Okay. It is what it is. Sometimes relationships just run their course, you know? Sometimes you just picked wrong, you know? Sometimes that happens. Okay. So he goes, then why are you keeping her around? He goes, because it's easier. Fuck that. Step up and make it happen. This isn't just your wife. Are you putting the necessary time in with your kids as well? Your entire family is operating under your guidance. Set the time aside to mentor, assist, and guide them all to where you or they want to go. The next one is number 7, educate her. He goes, I believe that as men, we are all walking our path alone. What I say will work and won't is based solely off of my experience. Largely, that's sort of what I tell guys too. Like, you know, this all worked for me, but don't take my word for it. Try it out yourself, right? He goes, I'm not guessing. These things have worked and I have used them in real life with my wife. Your mileage may vary, especially when it comes to discussing social, psychological, etc. You know, and that's another thing too, is a lot of what we talk about here in the red pill space, like it's tried and true. Like these are guys have been swapping notes for like 20 plus years, and other guys have tried it out and said, yeah, this shit works, right? This shit works. So there's some nuance to all this, right? He goes, I wrote a post a while back about how my wife had told me straight up that she wanted to be a submissive woman and has been reading about dominant submissive relationships. I told her I thought that was what we had going, and she said it is, but that she wanted to tell me that she's always wanted to be a submissive woman and be told what to do, and that she feels that is wrong. So she's always wanted this, but she's always felt bad for it, right? Because, you know, feminism and social society says, oh, no, you don't want this. You want to be a boss bitch, right? But a lot of women, you know, their natural instinct is to be told what to do and be submissive, right? They just don't like the word submissive, but that's how they want to act, right? And he goes, I've always taken the dominant role in the relationship, never saying, I don't know, always taking point and leading to where we need to be. I've used the word dominant to her and on these forums, but I realized that she's never spoken the title submissive. She had to own it. It was then that a few things clicked, and while she was crying like a son who had come out of the closet as gay to his dad, I knew I had the opportunity at a critical moment to make a lasting impact. I explained how all of the modern day feminists had warped the word submissive, how all of the SJWs, right, the social justice warriors, who make a domestic wife a bad thing are fucking wrong. And I clarified to her that her biology as a woman makes her more submissive, where mine as a man is more dominant, and that she was simply at the point where she wanted to be open about the dynamics of our relationship. I disagree. I disagree with all of this that he's talking about. Okay. I'm not saying that he's wrong with what he's saying. I'm saying number 7, educate her. I think it's a fucking terrible idea to try to red pill your girl. Okay. Don't try to red pill your girl. It's like what Rolo says, right? Women want to play the game. They just don't want to know they're playing the game. Okay. And they want you to play the game with them. So telling her about the process, about how men and women are supposed to operate, that is going to dry her up, right? And then she's going to observe this process, and observing the process changes the process. Okay. So I don't think it's a good idea to sit there and explain why your girl's feeling the way she's feeling to her necessarily. Okay. Now, Red Pill Chick and I do have these types of conversations, but she tunes into this shit, right? She literally tunes into every single fucking episode. Like, I can't not Red Pill Nurse Chick, because she's probably my biggest fan. But if your girl is not doing that kind of stuff, don't explain this shit to her. Okay. Just listen to her. If she says, I've always wanted to be submissive, but I always felt bad for it, be like, oh, you do? Okay. Well, I think, I kind of think a lot of women want to do that. They're just, society says not to, but you gotta go with what's natural, hun, right? Like, don't explain to her why, like, okay, well, there's this thing, this evolutionary psychology. Like, don't fucking do that. I disagree with this one, right? He goes, your woman may not understand why you're making the life improving changes that you've implemented. Share some of it. Educate her on why you're eating better, lifting more, reading more, fucking more. I disagree. Don't talk about it. Be about it. I don't think you need to explain this shit to her. In fact, Ryan talks about it in Dread. He's like, don't be explaining to your wife why you're making these changes, just fucking do it, right? Just fucking do it. Let that hamster wheel work. Let her figure out why you're doing it. All right. You don't explain this shit. It's going to, man, some of these guys. Anyway, he goes, don't let it just be the new you. Let her understand that you're raising your standard, and tell her that never again will she be forced to assume the leadership role of your clan. Women do not want to wear the pants, and when your weak sauce behavior forces them to, they build resentment. You may even want to explain that aspect so she understands why she's feeling angry towards you. Dr. Glover talks about this in No More Mr. Nice Guy too. He's like, let your girl know that you're making these changes and stuff like that. Man, if you let your girl know that you're making all these changes, your girl's just going to test you more. Right? She's not going to believe you are who you say you are. You know what I mean? You gotta just make these changes. Okay. Just make the changes. Don't talk about it. Just be about it. I disagree with this. He goes, this is entirely dependent on your woman, but explaining these things made my wife not feel alone, like she was the only woman to have these feels. It allowed her to embrace her submissiveness toward me and not make her feel ashamed when she says, I follow training the brain's lead. Now she owns it. You have to understand your wife and how her hamster works. Then you make the call on what knowledge would make her better understand the path you're taking and yourself down. Yeah, like I disagree with that one. I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to try to red pill your girl. Explain to her why her feelings are her feelings. Like, they don't want to know. They don't want to know why they're feeling the way they're feeling. Let her talk it out with you and process it with you. Just listen, man. Just be like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, I can understand why you might feel that way. Yeah, I can understand that. Just let her process it. Don't explain it to her. That's a dumb one. Number 8, text game. Okay. He goes, a lot of guys here keep text to logistics, and for 90% of the guys, I agree. For those who know how to use text as a sort of IV drip of arousal until you see her in person, I think texts have their place. For example, one morning I fucked my wife. It was nice hard sex followed by a shower, then off to work. A few hours into the day, I was rock hard daydreaming about the sex. So I went to the bathroom and took a dick pic and sent it to my wife, telling her apparently I didn't get enough that morning. Her response was, I look as hard as granite. She goes, it looks as hard as granite. I love when you're that hard inside me. I feel it spread me wide. And then I went radio silent. 15 to 20 minutes later, she sends me a text saying how wet she is. Then she sends a pic of her tits, then a message about if I like them, etc. My text elicited the response that sent her down the rabbit hole all day and solid sex was had when I got home. If you do it right and don't come across as needy or creepy, you can use text and pics to set the stage. Do not solely rely on texts, but you can certainly use them as accessories to your arsenal of weapons that are employed to reach your end goal. There's a couple of things here like I disagree with, right? Like I've already mentioned, I think texts are for logistics. I do believe in that. I do see like sending an occasional flirty text or something like that as something that's acceptable. You know, it's something good to do to keep her emotions spiked. I am not a fan of guys sending dick pics. I think that's a dumb fucking thing to do. It's kind of like what Royce says, right? The Jumbotron test. Anything you send to anybody over text, you need to be okay with it being put on a fucking Jumbotron in a football stadium. Do you want your fucking dick out there for everybody in the football stadium to see? If the answer is no, then you probably don't want to be sending dick pics. You know what I mean? And you don't know where that's out there forever, right? That's out there on some server forever. Could get leaked anywhere. It could be bad. Someone could bring that up at an interview. I one time had a guy that worked for me, and he was a very poor performer, right? Well, one day I'm sitting in a meeting and I get a text message from him, which isn't unusual. He used to send me text messages when he was at the data center and, you know, ask me questions and stuff like this. So I'm in a meeting. All of a sudden I get a dick pic from this dude because he accidentally sent it to me instead of the girl he was seeing. And that gave me the perfect opportunity to fire him. Okay. So sending dick pics, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it at all. I don't care if you are married or whatever. I also had another guy who he actually went to jail for, and now like I believe I sort of want to believe his story because he was a friend of mine, but he went to jail because some underage girls, he was a wrestling coach in high school, and some of the female trainers in high school received a dick pic from him. And he swears up and down that the reason why he had dick pics on his phone was because he used to send them to his wife, right? And but the thing was that he would let the wrestlers use his phone to call their parents and stuff like that. And he swears up and down that one of the wrestlers found the dick pics and sent it to the trainers from his phone. That's his story. I try to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's a friend of mine, but who knows? Who fucking knows? Who really fucking knows? Anyway, he went to jail for it. He paid for that shit. He is still married to his wife, which is interesting, but he went to jail for it for like, I think for like a year and a half, 2 years or something like that. And like that would have never happened if he didn't have dick pics on his phone, you know? So if let's say his story is true, never would have happened if he didn't already have dick pics on his phone. So I'm not a fan of that. I don't agree with that. Number 9, this goes hand in hand with a bunch of these other posts, right? But he goes, oh no, it doesn't. This one might be different. He goes, fuck with her. Okay. He goes, I fuck with my wife constantly. You know, the whole pick on the girls at the playground concept. I do that. And I have since we were together. Why? Because it fucking works, right? Talking shit, pulling pranks, just straight fucking with your wife in a tactful way leads to a solid relationship. I would never pull the chair out from under her, as that would make her look stupid in front of everyone, or she'd break her ass, but I would replace her incense with a sparkler. I'd hide shit, put things where she can't reach them, refuse to give a direct answer or give an overly complicated answer to any question that she should know. This is a fine line between being a mischievous man and being a dick. Be mischievous in your dealings and always have her looking over her shoulder. It can also be sexual. We were having a barbecue and I saw my wife go inside and get something. I snuck in, pulled her in the bathroom, and fingered her just before she came. Then I hopped out of the bathroom and heard her yell how big of an asshole I was. The rest of the party, she was giving me the angry eyes with a head shake, knowing she was pissed. She came hard that night. And that sort of goes with the 3 T's, right? Tease, touch, and tell. that we talked about on Friday, right? You want to tease your girl. You want to treat her like a bratty little sister. All that kind of stuff's playful, right? But you only want to do that about 20% of the time, right? Or else you just come across like a fucking dick, right? So 20% of the time, tease her and playfully tease her. And then the rest of the time, you want to be a charming James Bond type guy. And then lastly, we have here, refuse to lower the standard from which excellence is measured. He goes, you set the bar, gentlemen. You set the bar from which your wife will judge other men, and you set the bar from which your family will perform too. If you are outlifting and improving yourself, then your family should reflect that. If you are doing all of the steps provided, then your wife should be so busy trying to keep up with your next move that she doesn't need the newness of another man. It's all on you. He goes, I have shared some insight into how I've kept my wife leaking and craving my dick for the past 7 years of our marriage, and I hope to get some ideas from you to help me keep it fresh. As of right now, this post is roughly 3,000 words. That's irrelevant, as I could write a novel. If we do not apply what we read and write, then it's useless. Acta non verba, right? Actions over words. And he's right with that, right? Like a lot of guys in the space, we talked about it. We've talked about last week a bunch of times, right? A lot of guys, they want to read the books 10 to 15 times, but they don't go out and apply the information. It's just theory, right? So you got to take some of this stuff, take the useful stuff, right? If any of this isn't useful, don't disregard it. But if any of this stuff is useful, try it out, right? Try it out. It might help you out. Keep your relationship fresh, right? There's definitely some good ideas in this. Some of the things that I disagreed with. That's okay. That's okay. All right, guys, that's all I have for this episode. We went a little bit over today, which is not bad considering that you guys were very quiet today. We have like 43 people watching and like nobody talking in the chat. That is sad. That's okay. We'll wrap up. Guys, tune into the podcast Wednesday. We are continuing with the Book of Puck. We are going to be knocking out 2 more chapters from the Book of Puck this Wednesday. So be sure to tune into that. Otherwise, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I have episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thanks to the 3 of you that sounded off in the live chat today. I appreciate it. Oh, hey, Nuke's in the house. 4 of you guys are here now. 4 of you guys are participating, I should say. There's a bunch of lurkers today. Nobody sent super chats. That's a shame. But if you guys do get value out of these episodes, do consider sending super chats for future episodes. I appreciate that. Guys, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list. I'll send you a bunch of free stuff, including a free chapter of my book, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18. A lot of the maintaining a long-term relationship. I have a whole chapter on this in my book. We went over all of it on Friday. So tune into last Friday's episode for that. And then if you guys have an Audible subscription and you guys have a credit that you haven't used, get my book, okay? RP Thor, he's in the chat. He did the narration for that. He did a really good job. If you guys have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, consider using your next credit on my book too, okay? Guys, get the dating course, all right? This is the last week that you could save 50% by using code May50 at checkout. I'll drop a link to that again in the chat. All right. If you've been thinking about taking the course, don't wait too much longer. Okay. Because Friday's the last day that you can use that coupon. Okay. And then finally, guys, get in Beer Club. It's a good group of dudes. If you want to share notes with stuff like this, Beer Club's a good place to do it. We meet up once or twice a month, depending on the month. All right. Other than that, we will see you guys on, wait, hold on. Anything cool? Fine. We do have a super chat here. Brother John from Beer Club, $5 super chat. Lurking is what I do best. Just creepy, just being a creep, just creepily lurking, just watching. I'm going to give him this one here.
I was just going to say it. This guy fucks. Am I right?
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. All right, guys. I'll wrap up here. Enjoy the rest of your holiday, and do try to remember those that didn't come home so that you guys can have your barbecue. All right. We will see you guys on Wednesday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. New full episodes served hot every Monday morning. on your favorite podcast platform of choice. So subscribe now. Follow Paul on social media. The links are in the description. Now, go out and get it.